Romano from Queensland in the Romano Cosworth had a misadventure in the first heat. First of all, we saw car 6 go out of action, leaving a trail of oil on the main straight, and I'm talking about Jeff Harris. Big cloud of smoke before he finally got off the circuit and made it a little slippery for those left behind him. And those left behind him included Bap Romano in car number 8, a very distinctive looking machine, a very evil and fast looking machine. And he was coming up with Ray Hanger in car 24 when Hanger seemed to get a little out of shape. Perhaps it was because of oil on the track, and Romano might have had the biggest lead in the world, but it wasn't going to do him any good because out went Hanger and out went Bap Romano from the first heat. Well, what about heat 2?
Jeff Watson, Bernie Van Elsen, Peter Virialis, Mike Hart, Robert Fenwick, Stephen Flowers. They're the 10 runners. 20 laps is the distance. And the Kaditcha of Chris Clearihan, who won the first heat, already has established a fair sort of lead, although going hard after him is Alan Newton in the Elfin. Newton in back going, oh, something's gone wrong. Newton out of control. Full throttle is jammed, out of control and head on into the fence at very high speed. There's the driver there, breathing, trying to get out. Now you saw how he, yes, he's hit there with phenomenal speed, but he lost some control of the car, and it seemed as though the throttle had jammed because at absolutely undiminished pace, car 5, yes, Alan Newton went across there at phenomenal speed and straight into the fence on the far side of the track. Head on, the car has spun around, officials there to help him.
Takes a lot of force to bend the guardrail like that car has done.
Thank heavens it has bent though, Gary, because it has dissipated some of the force. But as you saw, Newton hit that fence at phenomenal pace. The car out of control.
Here it is.
Here's what happened. Now you see him suddenly, he makes a move, and there the throttle seems to jam, and away he goes. Once he's on the grass, he's out of control. A leap here off the end and over the track.
Airborne.
There at that point, part of the bodywork coming loose with the impact, hits and bounces out and into the fence.
Holy smoke.
And the car turns.
Thank goodness for that guardrail, and how fortunate that there were no other cars that had got round that curve in the track and were in front of him. Wow, well, he's going to be a sick and sorry boy for a while, but he looks to be in one piece.
We have with us Bap Romano, who was in the first heat. You were watching all that, I suppose, Bap? It looked as though the throttle had jammed. He went out of control and just wasn't able to stop it.
Well, he tried to pass him maneuver, I think, and whether it was a brake lock, I'm not sure. But the driver knows what really happened. These things don't surmise, of course, but I tend to agree with you. I think the throttle jammed wide open. Very frightened, actually.
What happened to you in the first heat?
Well, I was just motivating there quite slowly, and
I mean, you had the sort of lead that couldn't be beaten. It looks like you're going to win it quite comfortably.
That's right. Well, the situation was that, unfortunately, Alan Newton and Ray Hanger were both together. That was a chappie that was just involved in this accident just there. And I just could have taken up the back straight, but I sat back and I said, no, these guys obviously maybe they probably thought that they were just racing themselves. And I just sat back and waited. And Alan got a little bit out of control, and slightly, so I went left, and I was about to go on the outside, then all of a sudden Ray lost it, so I had to hit the brakes. I had nowhere to go. I hit one car or the other, so not much I could do about it, unfortunately. Just totaled the car, unfortunately, so it's a bit of a hard for me.
How does it feel when you're comfortably leading the first round of the Australian Sports Car Championship and that happens to you?
Well, it's quite shattering, really, but you know, I'm not hurt. That's the main thing, and the car's repairable. And I just, my main concern at the moment is for Alan Newton. I didn't like the way he went in, and you know, I'm very fortunate. That's all I can say. As I said, the car's repairable. It's just one of those things that you think everything.
Well, there's Alan Newton. He's okay. Well, he's hurt, obviously, but his head's up. He's all right. I mean, in the sense that he's conscious and talking, and that, believe me, helps us all breathe a little easier, because when you see a crash like that, you get a very strange feeling inside. So it's he's obviously hurt, but it's good news to see him being wheeled away and obviously interested in what's going on.
Yes, as you say, and he seemed to have a bit of a smile on his face, which I hope it was a smile anyway, because he certainly he's taking notice of what's going on, which is good.
And what does that say for the construction of these cars? They look flimsy, but when you look at that accident and see the way he hit that fence, you'd wonder how on earth he could survive.
Yes.
Are they strong, Bap, these cars?
Well, they're the strongest cars in the world. I mean, they are.
Yeah, let's just run through it again, and just with Bap Romano, who was the favourite for today's meeting until outed by a crash in the first heat. We'll just have a look at that again, Bap, and see it. We might try and get you to speculate as to what happened. As you recall, it happened in the very beginning of the race with Chris Clearihan leading, but under some challenge from Alan Newton. Now, Alan Newton is in car 5. Now, he's just behind the blue car.
Well,
now,
you can see he's trying to go a braking manoeuvre here. Right, and he's pulled up to the right too quickly. And his either throttle's either jammed, or he's tried to... my God, that's terrifying.
It's awful, isn't it? It looked as though...
Oh, my God, Father.
And he's smiling and sitting up in the stretcher.
He just gave the thumb up sign, so he's obviously okay. That's the main thing.
It looked to me as though he was leaning forward as though trying to switch off the ignition or something as he went forward. Of course, he was being bumped around, but he may have been leaning in the cockpit trying to hit the switch to turn off the...
well, look, true, the driver's the only one that really knows. Yeah, I mean, you can make all the suppositions in the world, but, I mean, you'd have to really get down seriously and ask him, but it looked to me as though the throttle came. And he also tried to pass him manoeuvre, obviously. But when he probably went to hit the brakes, who knows, but this can happen. You can't slip off the brake pedal on the accelerator pedal and all of a sudden say, whoops, it's all over.
Oh, well, there's an incident just recently in Europe involving Mike Thackwell, the New Zealand-born driver, who got his foot caught under the accelerator and couldn't get it up because it was jammed under there, and he's driving around unable to brake or to take his foot off the accelerator. He's just wedged in the cockpit.
That's right. But, I'll be going to Monaco shortly with the Tyrrell team, which I'm very fortunate about, and I get quite a lot of feedback from the Formula 1 cars, and my car is really a Formula 1 car, as everyone appreciates. It's got full rod suspension and everything. But to talk about the strength of these cars, they are very, very strong. Look, by all tokens, the touring cars are extremely strong, but I think you find if a touring car had done that, it would have been far, far more damage. Like you would have found the engine would have been up around you. Well, I won't say it anyway. I think we can all appreciate where it would be.
In close proximity.
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Bap Romano.
Okay, thanks a lot.
And we, as I was saying, Gary Wilkinson, we can all breathe just a little more easily now, because when you see someone involved in motor racing who has a crash like that, you do have a sickening feeling in the pit of the stomach, wondering just what has happened to someone that you know. Particularly in your case, John Shepherd, you know very well.
Yes, he's quite a good friend of mine, actually, Evan, and I think in a very short time I'll just whip down and see how he is, because I'm rather interested to know.
Okay. We'll let John Shepherd just go downstairs and see how his mate is, while we watch Chris Clearihan still comfortably in the lead of this second heat in the first round of the Australian Sports Car Championship. Under the engine cover there at the front, you can just see wisps of it, and an occasional puff of rather alarming looking smoke, and I think we can say that's Bernie's race for the day. And this could well and truly be Chris's race for the day too. He's leading it in a different sense as he goes past the pitch or towards the pitch where one man's out of the race. Clearihan has led from start to finish. All sorts of dramas have been taking place behind him, notably that which affected Alan Newton.
Chris Clearihan, was the Australian Sports Car Champion in 1982. And the car that he's driving today, not driven by him, won the championship last year. Right. Peter Hopwood had it then.
Well, it's making a good start to the season this year, isn't it?
Certainly is. There have been a few misadventures put paid to one or two other contenders, but that's not Clearihan's worry, is it? He's just done the right thing, kept the nice line, kept the power on, and is doing it very well indeed. 4 laps to go for him. 5 laps, rather. 5 laps to go.
Isn't that a wide car? 7 feet wide. You can see the comparison between that and the other car when he passed a more conventional sort of sports car. What sort of power output will we be looking at here, do you think, John Shepherd?
Oh, you'd be close to 500, Evan, and probably 400, 450 pounds-feet of torque. They're very, very strong engine and very, very powerful, and take quite a lot of driving in point of fact. And you'd be pleased to hear I've just been down and checked with the doctor about Alan Newton, and he's apparently quite good. He's got what seems to be, he's still got his overalls on. As the doctor said, he didn't want to take his clothes off over the back, but he's sitting up and having a chat with everyone, as you can see. But he's apparently looks like he's got a broken left ankle and a bit of trouble with his right knee. But
well, he's looking as though he'd like to get out and walk around. And I tell you what, if we were to show him the replay of his crash, he'd lie down.
Yes, I'm quite sure he would. And
what?
So you think it's an ankle that's cracked? Or...
Well, as I said, I spoke to the doctor and he said his left ankle is broken and his right knee is in some trouble, but they haven't actually looked at it yet because he's still got his overalls on, but they'll be taking him off now, so...
Well, that is remarkable news when you consider the impact of that crash, the speed with which he hit, the fact that he went nose first, the fact that he just peeled that fence back, and you can see there the car spun around after the impact, but look how he's pushed that steel fence back. You can imagine the force he hit, and he has a broken ankle and an injured knee.
Yes, well, as I said to the doctor, I would have expected him to be telling me that he didn't have any legs at all, and he said no, he's quite good. He
can afford to sit up there.
Exactly, yes. No, he's the man's blessed.
Well, that's one of the most amazing escapes I've seen in motor racing. So, one of the most horrifying accidents. I've never seen a car go so fast. Absolutely head on into a fence.
And obviously anything we're saying at the moment is without the benefit of some good hospitalisation and some checking, but certainly the doctor who checked him is relatively happy about it, which is great.
This man's relatively happy. Chris Clearihan clearing away with the 20 laps heat, 2 to go in this round of the Australian Sports Car Championship.
Controlling this ultra-powerful machine so well, just following immaculate lines around the corners. He knows all he has to do now is just nurse it to the finish, and he has the race in the bag and scores maximum points, having won both of the heats, or he will have won if he can do the same in this as he did in the first heat. That means he'll pick up the maximum of 30 points, and that'll put him in very good stead for this year's Australian Sports Car Championship. In second spot, Joe Vorst, who will take out also a whole bundle of points because he came third in the first heat, so he'll collect himself a nice swag of points to put him well on the way to success in this year's Australian title. But it's pretty obvious that the man with the legs on the field in this race only has Clearihan. What will happen when Romano gets back in action in the next race is anyone's guess, because in the first heat he certainly was so much faster than the others that he was quite clearly in a class of his own.
Clearihan has had the last lap board, so at the speed he's travelling, he's only got half a lap to go.
Well, the starter or the finisher, whatever you want to call him, is out there with his checkered flag looking round for some advice from the lap scorers, just to let him know whether he should display the flag. Yes, he should, I think, and he's beginning to edge his way onto the track just as Clearihan goes through the bends on the far side of the track for the last time, having circulated 20 times round, having not put a wheel wrong, and having the satisfaction of knowing that he is now the leader in the 1984 Sports Car Championship.
Through glow weave and straightens up for the last time. And here comes the checkered flag for Chris Clearihan. Well earned, well deserved victory. 2 heats, 2 wins for Chris Clearihan in round 1 for 1984, the Australian Sports Car Championship. Well, Alan Newton can thank his lucky stars, broken leg or not. There's the clean-up going on after that horrific prang into the guardrail, and also there are the official placings after Heat 2. The winner, Chris Clearihan, taking out both heats today, in fact, in the first round of the Australian Sports Car Championship. Second placing going to Joe Vorst, and third to Andrew Roberts.